Hello, I'm Pat and I'm going to demonstrate how to knot a bracelet and put culotte crimps on the end by the fastener. I'm now going to do a double knot in the end of the thread. I need a double knot so that the knot is large enough that it will sit comfortably in the culotte. Okay, so that's the double knot. Just going to push the ends together and that makes a really nice knot. Now it's important that you know the difference between these knots. So if I get another piece of thread and just show you the difference. A single knot is where you just do a loop like that and you do a knot. Okay? And that's perfectly adequate between beads that have a small hole, and that will sit there quite nicely. If your bead's got a larger hole, you may need a double knot like we need for the culotte crimp. A double knot is where you get the loop, you thread it through once and then thread it through again. So you've got a nice double knot there coming down, and it almost looks like a figure of 8 when you look at the top there. You pull it together, push the ends together, and you've got a very neat knot there which sits centrally on the thread, and that gives you a nice finish to your beads when you knot with a double knot. What you never do between beads is do a single knot and then another single knot on the top, because that actually will lie very awkwardly, and as you go down the thread you will see that your beads will kink. They won't lie in a straight line, and you want them to lie in a straight line, and that's why you use either the single knot or the double knot like that, not one knot on top of another. Right? Let's put that to one side. So we've got our double knot here ready to go using our culotte crimp. Now the one thing you do need to do, and it really doesn't matter what colour nail varnish you use because it's not going to be seen, but nail varnish will seal that knot. You can then thread the end through the hole in the culotte crimp, through there, pull it through, and what you've got there is the knot sitting in the culotte crimp. We can get the scissors, we can cut the knot off, we can use the culotte, we can start to close it in our fingers, but it's actually quite nice if you've got a pair of flat nose pliers just to close it with those, and that's nice and neat. This hook then will go onto our clasp, and I can show you that now. What we'll do is we'll get the bolt ring and we'll put the ring onto that loop, and we'll get our round nose pliers and we'll roll this down. Hold the end and just roll it down like that. There you are. And that's very neat now, very tidy and very strong. Once we've done that, we can start knotting our beads. Now sometimes these beads, these are glass pearls, and glass pearls are dyed, and when they dye pearls they actually dip them in the dye and then hang them up, and you find with some pearls that you get a little like a lip on the top, and maybe the hole is not as neat as you would like. You can use a pin, a hat pin or a head pin, and just put that through just to make sure there are no bits in your way. You may not need to do that, but you do often need to do that. What happens is the dye goes round the edge of the pearls and you get a little drip at the bottom, and that's what you're trying to lose. So having threaded your bead on, you're now going to do a knot. So you thread your knot, you hold your thumb and finger very close to the bead, pull this loop down until it's quite small, then hold your thumb and first fingernail closely to the bead and pull it in, and that gives you a knot next to the bead, and that will keep the bead in a nice nice place. Put another one on and we do exactly the same. Bead on, down to the knot, hold the thread there, pull the knot through, the loop through, and just hold that like that. Finger and thumb nail towards there and push it down. There we are. And it is that simple. Not easy when you first start, but it becomes easy very quickly. And that's the most important thing. Okay? If you put the clasp on first, it gives you a little bit of length there, which makes it easier to knot. If you just had a bead and you put a knot in on that single bead, that would actually be quite hard. So there you are. And you do that and you carry on through the length until it's the correct length for you. What I've done before is I've had a piece of paper the size that I want the beads to be, not including the clasp, just the beads. So this is a piece I did earlier, very Blue Peter, and I've done that many beads, but obviously I need at least another 3 to finish that off, and then I can put the clock crimp on the other end. So that's one. A point worth remembering is that you can alter the look of pearls or any bead by putting a different colour thread in. You don't need to put a matching thread, you can do a contrasting thread if you want to. And I quite like to do that. You could put a darker blue, or you could even put an orange or a yellow one in if you wanted to. It's all down to personal taste. And if you're doing something like this and making it yourself, then obviously you can have it the way you want it. I think this will be the last bead that I'll need. There we are. Let's check that on the length. And that's perfect. Doesn't always work that way, but that one is really perfect. We're going to go through another clock crimp now. Let's go through the hole from the other side this time in the bottom. Now the idea is to get the knot inside the bowl, and that's much more tricky now. So the thing to do is to do a single knot. Remember, this knot is not going to be seen. Pull it up and then use your thumb. Put your thumbnail over the top of the knot you've done. Wrap the thread around underneath the knot. This is rather difficult to show on camera, but there we are. The thread is wound round underneath the knot, but still inside the bowl there. So we pull that up, and that now puts it exactly where we want it to be. So we can put nail varnish on there. So it's not going to be seen, so you can use glue if you have glue. But nail varnish comes with its own handy little brush, which is very useful. All we do now is we close it up, flat nose pliers just to close it neatly, and then we turn this round. And I hadn't nail varnished this end of the other. I'll do that now. Select our clasp, and we're going to put the clasp now onto, I haven't quite snipped the tail off that one. There we are. close that one up, put the hook onto the fastener, and hold the end of that loop and wind it down. There we are. If you can see that, that's nice and tidy. The other end goes onto here. You can use a jump ring or you can use a tab like there is on here. And exactly the same, you hold the loop, piece of wire at the end, and just wind it down. There you are. And there you have a nice knotted bracelet.